WWE Super Showdown is a month away, and we have a lot of matches, surprisingly. So let's get to it. And by the way, some of these matches may impact Hell in a Cell, so we'll have to go back to them after Hell in a Cell takes place. But we'll have to do that regardless. Nonetheless, our first match for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Charlotte Flair against Becky Lynch. They're also going at it at Hell in a Cell, so this will be a rematch of that for the international audience. Depending what happens at Hell in a Cell, like I said, I feel like Becky would win the match at Hell in a Cell, so we'd have the rematch here for the title. It would just make sense in my mind. If that were to happen, I would pick Becky to retain. However, if Charlotte retains a Hell in a Cell, I will pick Becky to win. If just to make that clear again, if Charlotte wins a Hell in a Cell, Becky will win. If Becky wins a Hell in a Cell, Becky will retain, because then it'll be Becky defending the title at that point. Next up, the Cruiserweight Championship, as Cedric Alexander faces Buddy Murphy in a rematch of SummerSlam, I believe. Which was, because Drew Gulak was in SummerSlam. So Buddy's getting a contractually obligated rematch, and he's obviously made weight. It's been an issue for him over the past few months, so good for him to be in there. So hopefully he maintains his weight at 205 or less to get the shot in a little bit over a month. So it's possible, but you have to keep working at it. Nonetheless, Cedric has been a dominant champion, and I will pick Buddy Murphy because, again, it's in Australia. He's the hometown boy. He's the home country boy, quite frankly. And the whole country, well, aside from another match, will be relying on Buddy to get a win for the Aussies. So I will pick Buddy Murphy there to win the Cruiserweight title. Speaking of Australians, Australia's own Iconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, face the team of Naomi and Asuka. This has probably been made because of the thing that happened on SmackDown last night with the Iconics attacking Naomi after Naomi beat Peyton Royce in the match. Asuka made the save. Does the tag match make sense? I will pick the Iconics because, again, they're in Australia for this one. It's the Super Showdown. It's going to be an interesting show, but you got to have some of the Aussies win. It just makes sense. The New Day will defend the SmackDown titles against the Bar. Now, the Bar are in a number of contenders match against Rusev Day next week on SmackDown, which will probably happen, and that match will happen at Hell in a Cell. Now, again, this is why we have to come back to these matches because of variables like this. If somehow the Bar win the number of contenders match next week and face New Day at Hell in a Cell, if they win that match, I will pick them to retain because, they won the titles at Hell in a Cell. It makes sense for them to retain at the next show. However, if the New Day win, or if the New Day face Rusev Day at Hell in a Cell and win, then I will pick them to retain. But if they face Rusev Day at that point, I will pick the Bar to win titles. It's very weird, I understand. I understand if you'll be confused, but there's a lot of variables in this we have to go through. Daniel Bryan will face The Miz in a one-on-one match. Now, depending what happens in the Hell in a Cell match, which I think actually is inside the Hell in a Cell, if I'm mistaken, if I am, I apologize. With the mixed tag, actually, with Maurice and Brie also involved, will impact what happens in this one. But I would not be surprised if they put them in a cage for this one. It's not a stipulation yet, but it's a possibility. Now, if that were to happen, I would pick Bryan to win because, of course, Maurice can't get in and all that. However, if it's just a one-on-one match, expect shenanigans, expect Maurice to help, expect Miz to win that one. And we have our first changed match of the card, as the team of John Cena and Bobby Lashley face Kevin Owens and Elias. It was originally supposed to be Cena and Owens in the match since the last time we talked about it. But it's a tag match now. I don't know why. It just is. And it's a thing. It's interesting. Because, of course, John Cena still has his free agent clause. So he's just not representing Raw or SmackDown. It's just Cena being Cena, quite frankly. I don't know, and it's interesting because Kevin Owens quit on Raw last week, but I guess he's back because he attacked the Shield on Raw, and it's very weird. It's very weird, I will say that. And he's been attacking people nonstop, quite frankly, over the past few weeks because of that. However, I will pick Cena and Lashley just because them as a team is interesting to me. Because who could beat them? I mean, Lashley's a fucking brick house, and Cena is just Cena. So by default, they would win that one. And I believe... No, I take that back. Because there's more matches on here. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't want to say this is the final match, but it's not. Ronda Rousey and the Bella Twins will face the Riot Squad. Now, the Riot Squad did face the Bellas on Raw. It was their first match in 3 years as a team. The Bellas picked up the win on that one. Ronda made the save, thus the match makes sense. Of course, Ronda is the Raw Women's Champion still. Wherever she is at Hell in a Cell will depend on what happens in this match. But it's Ronda's first trip to Australia since losing the Holly Holm, and thus losing the UFC Bantamweight title in that same fight. It's more of a redemption for Ronda at that point because, you know, you got knocked out pretty quick in the second round there, over 2 years ago now. But it's her first night in Australia since that event. So I will pick Ronda to win. And I don't usually pick who's going to win tag matches, but I will pick Ronda because you need that redemption. And it would make sense here. AJ Styles defends the WWE Championship against Samoa Joe. Now, depending what happens at Hell in a Cell, will depend what happens on this match here. If Joe wins at Hell in a Cell, I will pick Joe to retain. If AJ wins at Hell in a Cell, I will pick Joe to win the title. And our final match is a 6-man tag as the Universal Champion Roman Reigns, the Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose, collectively the Reborn Shield, face Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre. Now, depending what happens on Hell in a Cell, since Roman and Strowman will face in a Hell in a Cell for the Universal title, it doesn't really matter what happens here. Because it's a tag match, title's not on the line, so it doesn't matter. But if Braun wins the title in Hell in a Cell, I would expect Braun to keep the momentum going and defeat Roman in the tag match. Again, I don't usually pick tag matches, or rather who would win tag matches, but since they're in a match at Hell in a Cell, it would make sense if Braun was the new champion. You want him to be a dominant champion, especially in front of an international audience, if not a global audience on the network. So you want Braun to be strong because it's fucking Braun. But if Roman retains, the Shield will win because it's fucking Roman. That's all I have to say about that. And the Super Show will be a month away. Yes, a little over 10 hours. And this may be the full card. I have no clue. There are some titles missing, so it may not be. But we will find out in the next few weeks.